My heart goes out to everybody that was impacted by this tragedy in Paris. My son-in-law's family, most of them live in Paris, and so we're clearly worried right in the beginning because we didn't know where they were. Fortunately, all of them are safe. The president has to figure out how to destroy ISIS. What's really scary is and concerning is we have one of the terrorists that posed as a Syrian refugee. So even after we know that, even after we're waiting to get more information about what happened in Paris, the president says he's still going forward with allowing 10,000 Syrian refugees to come to our country. We don't have enough information. This tragedy just happened. We don't know enough information on how these individuals are going to be vetted. We have a variety of organizations that have said they want to bring 425 Syrian refugees into our state. That's concerning when we don't have enough information. So today I sent a letter to Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Speaker Ryan, and I asked them to not allow any federal funds to be used for relocation of Syrian refugees to Florida. There's only so much the state can do. This is funded by the federal government, so I've asked them to stop allowing this to happen in our state. We need to get more information. As governor of the third largest state in the country, I'm concerned about the 20 million people that live in our state. I'm also concerned about the people who live all across our country. We need more information. We need to slow down when we see a tragedy like this happen instead of going forward without good information.
Any questions?
And what can we do on the state level to
How you doing?
Oh, hi.
to prevent this, though? I mean, bar the federal government. Is there anything we can do?
There's not much the state can do. This is funded by the federal government. That's why we watch the president continue to want to bring these refugees to Florida or to the country. So we're watching that he's not changing his mind. It doesn't make any sense. When you see a tragedy like this happen, wouldn't you, the first thing you do is say, wait, let's get more information, let's find out what happened, especially when you know one of the terrorists was posed as a refugee, a Syrian refugee. So since the state can't do it on its own, then the next thing we can do is ask Congress to do it. So that's why I sent it to Speaker Ryan, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, to say, stop allowing federal funds to be used to relocate these individuals to Florida or anywhere in the country.
So what sort of information would satisfy you in order to allow these Syrian refugees into the state?
And step one is this just happened in Paris. We ought to get more information about exactly what happened, who these individuals were, how it happened, so we know if we need to change course here. That's step one. Step two, then, even after we get all that information, let's find out how these individuals are being vetted. It clearly didn't work. Whatever they were doing in Europe clearly is not working. And I don't want what happened in Paris to happen here. I mean, can you imagine what happened to your city and your country when you watch this happen on television, and you might know friends or you have family members? Now I can tell you, my daughter and her husband were distraught, waiting to find out if anybody in their family had been injured or killed by these terrorists over there. I don't want that to happen in our country. Why wouldn't we slow down, get the information, and then make an informed decision?
We already know that the U.S. has a pretty strong vetting process. It takes, on average, 2 years for a Syrian refugee to be accepted to come into the U.S., which means there are people taking longer. What makes you feel that our policies aren't strong enough? Europe has its own sort of situation. We're not France.
So when something wrong happens, I've been in business all my life. When something wrong happens in business, what you do is the first thing you do is you slow down and you reassess. We've just watched a worldwide tragedy. We just watched over 120 people be murdered. We watched over 300 individuals. We don't know how much they're harmed yet. We just watched this. It just happened just a few days ago. Why in the world wouldn't we slow down, find out exactly what happened before we ever took a chance? Because we say we have, the federal government might say they have this so-called vetting process, but how do we know that it's better than Europe's? How do we know that their vetting process would not allow any of these terrorists into our country? How do we know?
From a law enforcement perspective, what are we doing in the state to kind of prevent something like that from happening here? How do you address the concerns of Floridians that feel they may not be safe?
So here's the positive, and here's my concerns. The positive is we're at a 44-year low in our crime rate. That's a positive. Our sheriffs, our police chiefs, FDLE, they try to work with the federal government to make sure they take care of all of our citizens. At the same time, the federal government's not, in this case, I don't think they're being a good partner. You should, when you see a worldwide tragedy, the first thing you do is slow down. Slow down, find out exactly what happened. This just happened a few days ago. 120 people were murdered. Over 300 individuals are injured, and we don't know how seriously. In America, we haven't seen how seriously that is yet. Why wouldn't you take your time in doing this? And especially when you know that, and early on, we found out early that one of them poses a Syrian refugee. And we're going to say, oh, we're okay? No, you'd slow down, make a good decision before you go forward.
Do you believe there's some sort of ethical obligation to take in the people who are fleeing the tragedies that you're talking about? In Syria, more than 100 people die on average each day because of this violence. Is there no ethical obligation to take these people in?
All of us as individuals, we are concerned about everybody. Okay, I have a job as governor. My job is this public safety of over the 20 million people who live in our state. That's the job I have right now. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep all those 20 million people safe. That's my job. Now, the president has a different job. The president's job should be, step one right now, is to destroy ISIS. Step two is keep the country safe. Take his time, make a good decision, take your time. That's why I asked Congress, because you watch the president says he's not taking his time. He says, I'm going to go full speed ahead. So that's why I've asked Congress to say, I don't want any federal funds going to relocating Syrian refugees to Florida. Let's get the information. We're probably the best melting pot in the world, Florida is. We are a state that we love immigrants. Immigrants are here from all over the world. I think it's over 250 languages are spoken in our state right now. So we're a great melting pot. But when you see a tragedy like this, 120 people murdered, over 300 people injured, think of all the families. I don't want that happening in our state. I'm responsible for the 20 million people that live in this state.
Thanks, everyone.